Kia ora ana koutou kātou toa e ākarakara mai ni te awa te tutu I te ira. Te rekareka niau e te ngā kaupura o niau I te ngā purutu. Ko era mai I te apaipai te enua o Rarotonga. E akari mai tā rāua I Marama. So for both of you that have come today, you bring your knowledge and understanding that's meaningful to you about our beautiful island of Rarotonga. So at this point in time, I hand it over to you both. Mei taki rā nui nui.
Kia ora ana. My name is Frances Cummings. I was born in Titicaca, but was brought here to New Zealand when I was about 2 years old, and angai to the Cummings family here in New Zealand. I still have my birth parents are still in Rarotonga, and yeah, that's who I am. So I'll pass it on to our lovely lady over here, and she can introduce herself.
Kia ora ana. My name is Teupe o te rā Unuia. I was born in Rarotonga, raised here till I was about 10 and then taken back home. I come from the village of Atuitui, which is in one of the vakas of Rarotonga. I have been here in New Zealand for the last, I think, over 10 years now, and have been part of the Rarotonga Inua group for 10 years as well.
Mako. Mako, I tā kōrua ākaranga I rira, and the things that you've seen in the 10 years and your upbringing here in New Zealand, because you both belong to the Rarotonga group, and I know you're the president of the Rarotonga group, both young women working hard to uplift your inua, and it's a big inua. You've got 3 different canoes in your inua, or 4 in your inua. So today, I ask you both to share deeply for the things that you are passionate about, your island, and we're speaking English, but I roto I te reo Māori. If you want to slip into that one, it's up to you. It's what makes you feel comfortable. Nā kōrua. Nō kōrua dia tātou.
You want to start?
Yeah. So Rarotonga is the main island of the Cook Islands. It's about 32 kilometres around the whole island. It's not the biggest. We've got Unuia, that's the biggest island of the Cook Islands. Now, we have just prepared a few things that we wanted to cover today. So, as mentioned before, Rarotonga has 3 vakas. There's Te Waka Te Aotonga, which is from Tupapa to Nikao. Waka Tākitumu from Matavera to Ngātangi ia Titikaveka. Titikaveka is part of Waka Tākitumu, but their old name used to be Te Murimotia. And then you've got Te Waka Puaikura, which is the Arorangi side, based on the western side of Rarotonga. I think one important note to make is that Rarotonga is the gateway to the rest of the islands in the Cook Islands. So to be able to get to those other islands, you've got to make it to Rarotonga first, and then you can go out. And that's via, the international planes that fly over.
What about you, Frances? What sort of knowledge or understanding or statements you want to make about the Rarotonga?
I went back 2 years ago. A lot of things have changed, because before then, I think it was just over 10 years I went back to Rarotonga. Beautiful, everything's beautiful, everything's rich, everything comparing to what we have here in New Zealand. That's all I can compare it to. I've also been wanting to go to our outer islands like, Mangaia, Aitutaki, even Atu, because that's where some of my my family tree, that's where it branches out into those other islands that we have. Growing up in New Zealand, regarding the reo, my mum is a family of 15, and when it comes to us first cousins, there is not one of us that actually speak the reo. And as children, we were spoken to by doing the irawa. For some of us cousins, we lived out in, we went to St. David's PIC Church in Petone. And we had our own Cook Island irawa, it's White Sunday. But in the early days, our verses were done in Papa'a. But our imene was done in Cook Island. And then for some of us, we had to come out here to Puriroa and do the irawa out here. It's a different world out here in Puriroa when it comes to doing the irawa. And everything was done in our te reo Māori. Yeah, just it's. And now that I'm older, and I have been taking New Zealand Māori classes, there is a big part of me that wants to learn more. I feel as though if you're around it a whole lot more, you will understand it. You'll be more willing to express the reo, but when it's not around you, you just stick to what you know, and that's the te reo Papa'a, because that's the common reo that you're always around. So my journey when it comes to te reo kukiairani hasn't started. There's a little plant that's inside me, and that was when I came over, because I was one of those kids that got spoken to in our reo, but I noticed as a young kid that I was the only one that was spoken to 24/7 in our reo, and I didn't want to be the odd one out. So I chose not to listen. So when my mum's saying, pass the salt, but made the miti, but made the miti. And I just look up into the sky like I don't know. I knew what she was saying, but I knew no one else was getting asked that same thing. And now that I'm older and I look back, I regret that I didn't pass the salt or turn the light off or close the door. But I think, to encourage our young, it's never too late. That's one thing I always say. It's never too late to learn, to do, or anything.
But the regret is part of learning. The regret is part of learning. And isn't it wonderful that you're sitting here talking about Rarotonga, but talking about the times of regret. But the regret is also part of learning, because you remember the miti. You remember past mida. And the fact is that you are the president or the chairperson of the Rarotonga Inua. What is it that drew you, that you didn't reject it? You drew yourself to the Inua of Rarotonga to be the leader. And yet, in that Inua group, you're learning the songs, traditional stuff, and you're the leader. What is it that you think you offer as a leader to your Inua?
Oh, wow, that's a big one. When I joined this Inua, I noticed my very first year, we didn't have many. We didn't have many members. Right. I think we had three little ones, maybe six mapu girls, 4 mapu boys dancing. And I know our island is a big island. And, you know, so my goal was to grow the inua. Especially regarding culture, because I love the singing, I love the fellowship that we bring as a Cook Island people. And for me, I love learning new songs, whether it's a Rarotonga song, Mangaian song, anything to do with our culture. I love it, and I want I want other people to love it just as much as I do. What I can offer, I'm still learning myself, but knowing that somebody's going to be there through the thick and thin, the ups and the downs, but trying to gather our people to come back to our inua here in Purirua. I've got a big task ahead of me. It's got its own roller coaster ride, and slowly I'm trying to build our group.
Yes.
Even though there's many members. And I think the only way I can do it is that if they can trust me that there's going to be change in a good way, still embrace our old ways, but it's a new technology now, and we need to embrace the future as well. And if I can be a part of that change and that moving forward.
And so I need to congratulate you, because obviously the journey that you talk about is taking you through regrets, successes, and growth. And you need to be congratulated, because along the way, it's not only the language that you're learning the values, the principles, and the structures of culture, of cultural knowledge. You know the difference between that waka and that waka and that waka. You know the difference between what is acceptable to the elders and to the youth. And this is something to be applauded. I maine. So for you, ia koe maine, ka tūtau Māori o teo kia koe. No te mea, no roto mai koe I te awaronga kua karape. E kita karape tō rātou, tōna tō o papa, no rea ka patia tō, me ka rauka ia koe, te aka mārama mai I tō o tūranga, tō o kōpū tangata, tō o mutu are tangata, tō o mito tāne, e tānei rawe nei. No te mea, kua kite au e aronga karape koutou.
Me take. Anau ia o te inua Rarotonga, ko ki airani. Ona pā ko e putama paina ia mai o ki nutiri nei I roto I te rima o te mama e te papa o tōku mitua waine. Tōku mitua tāne tōna ingoa ko tōu Unuia, ma te mātou ia te kāpiki ia te tangata e ko man. Tōku mitua waine ko kiki. Te tūranga o tōku mitua tāne tia rānei, ko ia te CEO o te Minita Roti, te minita te o te health I Rarotonga. Tōku tupuanga, tupu au I konei, I roto I tia nei oire. I nāra te taenga o te mataiti taingo urupa, taingo ati o ki tōku wewe, a ko ki au ki te inua ānauanga. Te okianga au, kāre o ki te tutua I tō tātou reo. No Rarotonga au te ngai I tāmo, I āpi mei e tō tātou reo. Ea te rā mataiti, tai tawatini iwa ānere, I wanga uru maiwa, I te marama I a titema, au I a kōki ai ki Rarotonga. Aka mata mai o te āpia awarua te mataiti 97, I te rātu atau I Rarotonga e tārere te tairawe ana. Te ingotia tārere, I think, grade 6 national examinations I te kuki airani. So in 97, when I started school in Rarotonga, there was a grade 6 national examination that was, I think that was probably the third to last time that this exam was held. And me being from here with no Cook Islands language or anything, we had no choice but to partake. And one of the subjects was Māori. I had a teacher at the time that helped me, but the my Māori back then wasn't great. But all in all, out of the 15, well, all grade 6 pupils of the Cook Islands, I placed in the top 10 of that examination for that year. And I think it was with the help of the teacher, Te Rapuapi no Noku I te rātu atau, I rauka e tia turanga i te rā teime.
Te moni re te reo i a koe?
Te taiteime.
Te taiteime.
Te taiteime. Kare e rauka ko i aku te me toto ana ki au, I will always go back into English.
Tau i ki te papaa. Tēnā koe ki atu. A ki te mai tau i ki te atu e tau marama i te aranga koe ki atu.
It's very different. Atu is slow. Slow compared to Rarotonga. Things are done differently. I'm used to fast. Yep. The water, there's a certain time of the day that the water is turned on and turned off. And I found that a struggle because I Rarotonga, I'm used to the water being on all the time. You can go, do things with water. But I Atu, you have to follow what they've set on the island.
What about the culture of the island? What about some of the traditions? Did you see any of that?
God, I wasn't there for long.
Kare koe there for long. Okay. So now, ma'inema, because you know that the purpose of this program is about promoting our language, but also promoting the individuality of the Cook Islands in there. Papa Arapati Henry in 1965 struggled with that too, because the diversity of our islands meant he couldn't find a national language for all of us. So he had the greeting of Kia Orana. Kia Orana was the one greeting that could be shared by everyone. So within the groups that you're in at the moment, Rarotonga Inua, what is it do you think that will combine? Because you've been on your journey, you've seen felt some regrets, had some successes, but you have a vision, don't you? You have a vision to grow the membership of your group. And you've been close to her because you're the secretary, aren't you? So the two of you working together, two young women working together to pull Rarotonga up. If only I had a chant for that, I can just see this pulling it up like Maui pulled up the land. What sort of strategies would you have in place? I know I've already asked about what would you do, but in our conversation this afternoon, what other things do you see would actually, as they say, kia rarata mai te iti tangata, so that our people would think, going to go there? Because I've seen Papa Koro is always there, the Uritawa family. There's been your loyal ones, eh? So just exploring some of the things, because people will be watching this video and will hear you both with your dreams and your vision for Rarotonga Inua.
I think for me personally, I wasn't 100% in taking the position. I pretty much had no choice because our chairman before me, he resigned and I was the assistant, so I just shuffled along in the line. But I was never confident because of the not knowing how to speak to our own people in our reo, and also understanding the language too. I'm not very confident in, there's some words I can pick up, but a lot of it I get lost. I think I just put too much pressure on myself. If I just open my taringa and just listen, I actually think that I actually understand.
Yes.
But I think to help our inua grow, I just need the trust. You need to trust the people who are running everything.
Yes.
And I've been here for a few years, and I've got my own, besides the inua, I've got my own trials and tribulations I go through, but I'm still here. And if our people can see I'm not going anywhere in a hurry, if they can trust me that I can help, but I need their help too. I can't do it all by myself.
Okay.
I need everybody to see, oh, there she is again, for Rarotonga. Oh, there she is again, for Rarotonga. Then that should be a trigger. Come and jump on the waka with me, and we all move forward together. If you trust me that I can do it, and then maybe help me along the way in my journey to te reo, to kōrero Māori, to understand our language a whole lot better, then that way it's a give and take. I can, we can all work together.
So persistency, that's really important, and and persevering. So what knowledge do you prize that you have about Rarotonga? What knowledge do you know? You think, wow, this is my island. When I hear about this, I feel proud. What is it? Is there anything there that you can put your heart into and say, trust me, because I have this feeling. There's this rock when I sit here, or there's the needle, there's the pamonga, there's the beach, there's whatever, because these things give me a heart of belonging.
I will be the first one to boast about where I come from, to all my non-Cook Island friends who are always looking for a holiday. Don't go to Australia. And then when I hear that they've gone to Rarotonga, did you love my country? And the answer is always yes. And I'm always promoting to all my non-Cook Island friends, go to Rarotonga. You will never regret it. You will enjoy yourself. Everything's beautiful there. The food's beautiful. The people are beautiful. The island is beautiful. But I always will put Tupuanga because I'm biased like that. Tupuanga is the most beautiful place in the whole wide world. Beautiful beaches.
I agree too. Well, you've shared, and I think what's come through strongly with your presentation, both of you, is your heart for Rarotonga. We talked about different people, whether we need a taonga, the expert of the knowledge, but sometimes we need to talk about the draw card of the island. And coming from young mouths, young hearts, and people who are struggling to learn the language, I think it's a very valuable contribution that you two are making. Is there anything else each one of you would like to contribute to those who are going through the same journey of wanting the language? And for some, just like you, Francis, is that you need to be surrounded on all the time with the language so that you can replenish and keep replenishing. For others, it's having to travel long distances visually, mentally, physically, to get the persistency in learning the language. So do you two have any last things to say now?
Yeah,
I'll give to you.
I just wanted to add, with Rarotonga Inua, we're quite a young group. We have maybe just one metua papakoro, as you stated before, but the majority of our group are all young people. And I think what attracts these young people to keep coming to the Inua is because we always have something new. The Inua has composers in this group. We've got the likes of James Unuia. He's a well-known composer. and he's one that we like to draw our knowledge from. I'm only just starting. I'm not as good as James or my brother, but I'm just starting to get my feel in that area. I write better than I actually speak. So if I wanted to express myself, I'm not sure if you remember, but a few years ago I had sent you some poetry in our Cook Islands language.
Yes,
and
I must get some of that.
that's something that I'm moving
Yes,
back into.
please.
But one of the biggest things that we do want for our people is, to learn our language, because that's your identity to the world. That's who people. That's how you'll, people will know that you're from the Cook Islands, is by knowing your language. And when you. Once you've got that, once you know your language, you'll feel proud, because then you'll be able to understand what our mituas are talking about. And yeah.
Thank you. Meitake. What about you, Francis? Any last words?
Just don't give up.
That's right.
I know that our older, like the grandparents, especially in the generation today, our grandparents, and if we're lucky to still have great grandparents, they're from an old traditional way, old school. And for all our mapu and everyone coming through, it is never too late to learn. Whether you're at a beginning stage or whether you're at the master stage, it's never too late to keep learning. It's a battle I have within myself, but always looking for ways where I can better myself with who I am and how I am within our Cook Island community. I might not know how to speak, but my presence being there, everyone knows I'm the lady in the wheelchair, and I'm there to support in whatever means, whether it's in a kai, whether it's in words, whether it's in a muni, or whether I'm just there to help move chairs or anything. So it's never too late. I encourage everybody, even myself. So yeah, that's where I am.
Meitake ranuni, meitake maata ki kōrua. I know it's an uphill battle. About over 80% of our young people are born in New Zealand. And what is that saying about us here in New Zealand? We need to work harder together and have programs such as this, because the idea from the video is that families will be inspired to do some work within their own homes, not to set up institutions, but the institution of the home. So what you two have brought to the notice of our iti tangata e akarakaramini te awata tutu is the plight of the young people struggling with our language, but you have a love for the language, for the culture, and you're willing to go through the hard journey. And so I wish you well. Francis, I wish you all the best. And you, my dear niece, so thank you very much.
It's been the longest time, something I can't ignore. The way she calling out for me, oh na na na. Her mountains, they tell a story of what's been before my time. Taku para taiko, taku puku